This figure, we're going to look at the thick and thin filaments of the sarcomere, as well as a few other proteins that form the sarcomere structure. And the sarcomeres, once again, are the contractile units. We show one being shown from Z-line or Z-disc to Z-disc. Again, these are found end to end to end within the myofibrils, and of course there are multiple myofibrils contained within a skeletal muscle fiber. So there are many, many sarcomeres. In fact, there are literally thousands of sarcomeres per centimeter of muscle fiber. And again, they're also side by side within these myofibrils. So if we take a little bit closer look, what we see is that the Z-disc proteins suspend the thin filaments, shown here, right? And they actually extend to either side of the Z-disc. And while the thick filaments, right, shown in a little bit thicker line here, are suspended by the M-line proteins. And what we're going to find is that the most important part of the sarcomere is this zone of overlap shown here, right? The region in which the thick filaments overlap with the thin filaments. And this is essential because this is actually where the tension is generated between the thick and thin filaments, the pulling of the thick filament on the thin filament. And what we'll find is when that pulling occurs, we're actually going to pull the thin filaments in towards the M lines. Right? We'll see this in a second here, shortening each sarcomere overall. And so if we have these sarcomeres end to end to end, and each one is shortening by some microscopic length, but we have thousands and thousands of them end to end, we actually get significant shortening overall. Now in this zone of overlap, again, we have our thick filaments right here, surrounded by our thin filaments, right? Three-dimensionally though, if we rotate this cut essentially through the zone of overlap, what we see is that the thick filaments, right, these wider ones, are surrounded on all sides by the thin filaments, right? If we blow that up over here on the right, we've got a big fat thick filament in the center here, and it has myosin heads that project outward to these thin filaments, right? Again, these are going in and out of the screen here. And such that the myosin heads can grab and pull on these thin filaments, forming a cross bridge that generates our tension. And so if I put our myosin heads, some of our myosin heads onto our thick filaments up here, right? When those myosin heads grab the thin filament and pull it towards the M line, we shorten the sarcomere overall and generate our tension.